Hey everyone, so this trade breakdown for NzdUsd. This one is quite tricky. It involves trading in highly volatile markets, and also this situation where the price was just hanging above the take profit for a long time before actually hitting it. So maybe it will be one more breakdown where you can see and learn how to better hold the trade to take profit, but in short you just do it and that's all. So let's start with the weekly time frame, and we see on the weekly that the market for a long time was moving to the downside here and then created this big pullback into the zone, absorbed the zone or took liquidity above it, and created some moves to the downside. Some fractal redistribution here, and continued to the downside with recent two breaks and then one break above. So overall on weekly, this is unconfirmed redistribution, and we expect continuations to this overall low. Uh, and again, bearish pressure is here from the overall trend. However, this trade is tricky, and this price action could be interpreted to both sides, because you could say that this is an early sign of reversal, and this is internal impulse, the zone, and we even have a reaction before possible impulse correction and impulse to the downside, to the upside. And again, right now, for me at least, it's not possible to say. It's a bit tricky, and we are kind of in the middle of the range, and we can interpret this price action to the both sides. And I for this trade I choose to interpret to the downside from the weekly, and even from the daily and 4 hours. But again, my entry was in 1 minute, so like this kind of higher time frames are not guiding me too much. I'm more focusing on 1 hour, 4 hours, and 15 minutes. But nevertheless, on daily, we are having again more of an unclear market, I would say, because yes, we have this bullish impulse, but then we have this bearish leg and several shifts to the upside, which still could be a redistribution here. If the market will break to the upside, then I will probably switch to this high. But right now, again, combined with lower time frames, as you will see, I see it at least as some kind of indecisions here and an area for possible reactions, because even if this is a reaccumulation here, and we are going to hit this high, then we can see a fractal reaccumulation here at least. So this was my daily, basically again 50-50. 4 hours, what we see is this bullish leg that started to slow down, started to be more horizontal, and then recently we created this big bearish push, and we came to the supply zone here and went a little bit above for a possible redistribution with a huge impulse based on the news. So idea on the middle time frames behind this trade is that it could be a possible distribution to go a little bit lower. And on 1 hour, we just basically see the same. And again, this trade is so tricky, and maybe not the best example from my trade breakdown playlist, but I kind of disregarded this huge impulse to the upside, and I was more orienting myself here. Why I did so? I mean, it's not that I just disregarded it. I waited until the price starts to develop, and it went to the downside a little bit. And then on one more news release, it made this huge wick to the upside, taking this liquidity. And I was again ignoring it, using this as a zone, using this as an absorption to possibly go lower. I didn't plan to make too many entries, but then maybe one or two entries would be enough to check this theory that it could go lower. Because again, very often, if you have these huge overextended impulses based on the news, the price will then go and take the foundation of that impulse, just to take liquidity behind it. And on 15 minutes, it looks something like this. So this was the most recent leg that I was using, the price that is moving just bearish. Yes, technically inside this huge bullish push, but with um, some arguments from higher and middle time frames to go lower. Again, here on 5 minutes, I'm just looking at this bearish price action here. I'm looking at this as a redistribution. So redistribution model that you know from my videos that I'm using is that when the market is breaking for the first time from coming from a bearish leg, then it's most likely a redistribution, a bearish model. And on 1 minute, I was looking at this. So one minute I was looking at this, and by the way, this trade developed over 2 or 3 days, I guess. So we just have our standard impulse correction, and on the break, actually with the spread, I was entering here, stop loss goes here, and this was the entry. And it was ranging around entry point for some time, but then it started to go down somewhere here, no, probably lower. Yeah, somewhere here I went to break even, and just let's switch to 5 minutes again. And it continued to slowly go down during next day. And what's interesting is that then during Asian session and the beginning of London, it started to really break to the downside. However, is it locked? However, it also extended into my take profit, and when it actually came to around take profit, it just so this was not a take profit for me because my spread was too high, and at this point I was just like the price actual price hit my take profit, but spread did not close my order. And all this time I was just sitting there and looking at the trade, thinking if it will close, if it will not close, and only with this candle it closed. Why I decided to wait and not close here for 3.9 hour and not 4 hour? Because I've tested the system and I know that 4 hour is my best possible profit. And again, just a quick look into analysis here. When you have a lot of trades, you can then analyze and see that the most profitable for you, for example, is 4R or 5R or 3R. And I know that for me, in the long run, 4R is what gives the best profits, even though the win rate is not so big. So this was my trade breakdown. Yes, it is risky. It is open to interpretation, specifically this trade. But if you want more clear breakdowns, check other breakdowns on the trade review page, and not only. Okay, thank you very much for being here. Bye.